Mr. Chairman, you're good.
Okay, hi everyone. I am going to call the order the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for May 1st, 2025. Before we start the public hearing, we have a couple items on our agenda. The first item is the approval of the minutes from Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Brian, may I have a second?
Jane seconds.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, may I have a vote, please?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Oh, she did. Okay, and Elise raised her hand. Okay, thank you. The second item on our administrative session is approval of the secretary's fees. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second, please? Seconds. Any discussion? Okay, as no discussion, we're going to vote.
Aye.
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 And Lisa. Okay. Now that we've done that, we are ready to open the public hearing. So I'm going to call to order the Zoning Board of Appeals public hearing for May 1st, 2025. So the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting will now come to order. First, when it matters, first call the applicant or his or her agent will present the case. At this time, originals of any petition should be given to the clerk, Jody. Copies of the petition should then be distributed to the board members. After the applicant's presentation, all interested persons in favor of the application will come forward and speak. After those in favor have spoken, those in opposition will then be heard. The applicant or his or her agent may then address the comments made by those in opposition. Second, this meeting is being recorded as required by state law. It's important that we're able to understand the recording. Therefore, only one person should speak at a time, and anyone who wants to speak must come forward and speak clearly, as our recording devices are located in the ceiling. And you must give your name and address. We welcome the comments of all interested persons, but we must exercise discretion in making sure that your comments are on point. If you're too far off point, we reserve the right to restrict your comments at any time. Third, applicants and interested persons may remain in attendance after the public hearing for the executive session to find out what was decided, or you may call the office tomorrow morning. Fourth, if an applicant for a waiver is granted, it is not valid until it's recorded. The applicant must bring a check in the amount of $60 made out to the town of Fairfield to the zoning office on Wednesday or later following the meeting for proper recording of the notice of filing. Any waiver involving construction requires an as-built prior to an issuance of certificate of zoning compliance and a certificate of occupancy. Okay. So we are going to move on to our first item on our general docket. Our first item is number 1. Matt, do I need to let people know what's continued first, or should?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 2 continued items on our docket. The first one is 1157 and 1158 Fairfield Beach Road. Do I have to read the entire application? Okay, and the second continued item is 166 Pine Creek Avenue. So now we'll go on to the general docket. Our first application is 81 Hyundai Avenue, map 79, parcel 717, petition of Jack M. Meyer for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4.3, to reduce the side and rear line setbacks from 10 feet, proposing 4 feet and 4 feet for an accessory structure that is less than 60 feet from the street line. Permission to construct a shed, premises B zone. Please come forward, just state your name and your address, and
Hi. Good afternoon, Jack Meyer, 81 Hunyadi Avenue.
okay. And you could just talk about your.
Sure, so my request is to build a 8x12 shed in our backyard, utility shed for tools and other things. The hardship being that our property is a legal non-conforming lot. The minimum required lot size is 6,000 square feet, and the minimum required lot square is 60 feet. Our lot is only 5,000 square feet and only has a 50 square With that said, we are also located on a corner lot and bound by 2 street lines, which would require 60-foot setback, both to meet that required 4-foot setback. Questions?
Okay, so is there any questions from the board? Okay.
May I ask a question,
Please.
Mr. Decker? Can you just confirm that that size does not require a building permit?
Does not require a building permit because it's under 200 square feet. Just a zoning permit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here in attendance or online who'd like to speak for this application? No? Is there anyone here or online wishing to speak opposing this application? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, we're going to close this application. Okay, moving on. Number 2, 1120 Mill Hill Terrace, map 243, parcel 237, petition of Adele M. Thomas for a variance of the zoning regulations section 5.2.5 to increase the total lot coverage from 15% currently to 23%, proposing 18%. Permission to construct a new 2.5-story single-family dwelling with front porch, premises R3 zone. Is the applicant here? Come forward. Just your name and address, and tell us about your application.
Okay, my name's Len Savia, 1120 Mill Hill Terrace, and I do have neighbor petitions I had signed. 4. I'm a little nervous. I'm used to building things.
Scary.
I'm used to building them, not talking about it.
Let's take the one then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so yeah, we wish to demo the existing ranch-style home, detached garage, shed, and construct a new 2.5-story single-family dwelling. Our hardship is that it's a legal, non-conforming lot due to the lot size and shape. We are proposing to reduce this non-conforming in the construction, but we are asking the minimum lot size requirement for the zone we are in is 20,000 square feet with a required square of 100 feet. We have a lot size of 11,952 square feet and a square of 75 feet. We are also taking a non-conforming structure regarding current setbacks and making the new dwelling compliant to the required setbacks. We are also located on a corner lot. However, when the current home was built, it was not located on a corner lot. A subdivision on Evelyn Street was built in 1994, subsequently making our lot even more non-conforming as a corner lot, changing the required side setback of 15 feet to secondary street line setback of 30 feet. In closing, we feel that the new structure is more in character with the surrounding neighborhood as a colonial-style 2.5-story dwelling, and we have eliminated all but one of the non-conformities and ask that you please grant our variance to build our new home. Thank you.
Why don't you stay up for a second?
Questions?
Yeah, so does the board have any questions?
I do. I'm trying to understand something on the grid, on the chart.
Okay.
It has maximum building lot coverage as a percentage, 23% is existing, and that number of square feet under that column, 2,128 square feet. Okay? And then in the proposed, you want to do 18.1%, which is still over the maximum permitted. But somehow, the maximum floor area proposed is 3,361 square feet. It doesn't make sense to me.
I can answer that if you like. That number is the bulk, which is the square footage of the total. That would be the bottom percentage of the 28.1.
That's the FAR?
Yep.
Okay.
The 2162 is the one above it, that's the lot coverage number. That went down by almost 600 square feet.
So, but it's on the same line, that's what
They're on
confused.
separate lines. So the 2128, right above the 17.8%,
Right.
that's the FAR. And then over to the right is the new FAR at 3361, which is 28.1%. And then if you look one section up from that, you see the 18.1%.
Okay.
That's the lot coverage. That's the one he's seeking a waiver.
So you're proposing a new, brand-new structure that's still over what you're permitted for lot coverage. And so tell me again what the hardship
Yes.
is.
The hardship is that it's a legal non-conforming shop, but we propose to reduce the non-conforming. Right now, it's 2,745 square feet lot coverage. We're proposing to go 2,096 square feet. So that's 650 square feet less than what's on the property right now.
But it's a brand-new building.
It's a brand-new building.
So what is
We
preventing,
were taking the other,
okay, so what's preventing you from making this brand-new building conforming to regulations?
did you hear the non-conforming, the stuff?
I know it's a non-
And
I understand,
also follow
yeah.
just to that, if you needed to build a house on this lot that was conforming to the regulations, how big could that house be?
I would have to,
That's sort of my point. This is a brand-new house. You can design it any way you want, but you're not designing it,
but it's in the setbacks. It's in all the setbacks.
right, but the coverage, the lot coverage is still greater than what's permitted in that.
Okay, but there is a hardship. The hardship is on the side road where Evelyn was, it's a 30-foot setback, which before would only require 15 feet. If you go on Mill Hill Terrace,
Yeah.
the setback over there it's like 8 or 10 feet. So
Is it a corner lot?
it's a corner lot now, but it wasn't a corner lot
Right.
when my in-laws bought the property.
So, like, the point is, you're building a brand-new house, and you can build it according to the regulations. So it's preventing you from doing that.
It just wouldn't fit the neighborhood. I mean, all the rooms would be so much smaller. If you look at the print, the rooms are small as it now. It's not a big house.
How many bedrooms is it?
There's 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths,
And a two-car garage?
and a 2-car garage.
So you mentioned this, so are you the builder? What is your relationship?
I'm the builder, I'm the son-in-law.
Okay, so you're son-in-law and you're building it?
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know if Dan has any more questions, but if,
That's my only question is, like, it's a brand-new house. There's nothing preventing you from building it according to the regulations.
It just fits the property. It fits the property better this way. It fits our family better this way.
No,
It's
no,
it's
you
a
can always come
hardship
up.
to our family.
just name and address.
I'm Lisa Sabia, Len's wife. It's my mom's home, who is now in assisted living, so that's why we're proposing to, build this house. Another one of the hardships is there's ledge on the property. So the way that it sits now, first of all, nobody wants a house without a basement. I tried to sell it as is, the way it was. We put a new roof on it, we painted the inside and everything. Nobody's interested in that house. Plus the wiring and everything was wrong with this house as it was. So we couldn't even sell it the way it was, so we had to do something. So that's why we came up with this plan to turn it, to remove some of the ledge so that we would build this new structure, but it required these, this zoning variance.
Okay, I hear your answer. Thank you.
Sorry,
No,
hope
you're
that
not
helps.
saying sorry.
Yeah.
I understand.
Does anyone else, does anyone else have anything?
Am I correct in that, so you're asking, you currently have, you're allowed 1792 square feet. You're asking for 2162, but if you had a fully conforming lot and had the 20,000 square feet that everybody else, would conform to our regulations, you'd actually be able to build a footprint of 3,000 square feet. Correct? So if you were a conforming lot, you could build almost 50% more than what you're asking for. So, isn't that what a
I
hardship is?
thought we were asking for less.
It's a hard, again, this is probably for discussion, but.
Okay. Well, it doesn't have to be after, because if anyone has any questions about that, now's the time to ask Mr. Decker.
That's the-
Because we can't ask him any questions once we go into discussion. No. So Matt, I have a question though. If, for a non-conforming lot, what if it was conforming? The setbacks, it's the setbacks that cause the non-conformance, because they're more, because the lot size is less. So you're basically scrunching down the available use of it.
Right.
Coverage though.
Because if you were in another area and that lot coverage, that was an allowed size, those setbacks wouldn't be so much, correct?
Well, no, the setbacks are the setbacks. He's not asking for a setback
There's
variance.
no
No,
setback.
I know that, but I'm trying to understand, like.
Well, his envelope would be bigger on a bigger lot.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
but in this case, his lot is 8,000 square feet less than what the 20,000 requirement
But
is.
subject to setbacks of a bigger lot.
Right. And he said.
But he's fine with the setbacks.
Yeah, no, I know.
He's got all the problems of a big lot.
This is when we ask them questions, so.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any more questions? Elise,
Maybe a
oh,
question.
you want to finish?
I was gonna say, to even remind, isn't that exactly what a hardship is? It's a hardship because this property doesn't have the square footage it should have.
I don't think Matt can, that's our discussion area.
You guys, yeah.
This is us to ask questions. Okay, Elise, do you have any questions? No? Okay, and I'm sorry, Brian, would you like to ask any questions? Jane, are you?
I got my answers, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
So, is there anyone in the room or online who would like to speak for this application? Is there anyone in the room or online who'd like to speak against this application? Okay, not seeing any, we're going to close this application. Okay, we are going back to number 3. 645 Churchill Road, map 26, parcel 230. Petition of Eric L. Picard for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the sideline setback on a corner lot from 30 feet, currently 59.6, proposing 27.7. Permission to build a one-story addition for a new two-car garage, premises A zone. Please, just name and address and present your application.
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Picard, and I'm the owner of 645 Churchill Road. When we bought Churchill, we paid little attention to the impact of flood zone designation as it applied to our lot, unfortunately. That impact was realized on September 25th, 2018, when nearly 70% of our property was underwater as a flash flood. So I don't know how well you guys can see this, but I can pass it down so we can take a peek at that. That was a lot of water. That was Little Rooster River Special. The existing garage that we have at 75.5 inches high houses our mechanicals, sump pump, and cannot accommodate a vehicle. When we contemplating adding a two-car garage, it was suggested that we site it on the highest elevation of our property. Makes sense. Locating the garage at the front of the house on Church Hill, we will eliminate the risk that we experience when exiting our driveway on the corner of Bond Street, which is just 15 feet from Church Hill. It will also allow us to rectify that long-standing drainage issue that we've been dealing with since we've lived there for the last 6.5 or so years. Granting our request, we feel will have no negative environmental impact, nor will it negatively affect the neighborhood property values. We visited with 9 of our neighbors. I think Matt might have got a copy of this, but
I think it's on and
We all
on.
got
it's in there, okay. So we visited with 9 of our neighbors, and they have all given us their full support as described in the petition. So we are asking for your support of our variance request, and any questions?
So are you gonna, I'm sorry.
No, please, Jen.
Are you gonna abandon the existing garage?
No, we're we're gonna raise, what we're gonna do is the driveway goes downhill.
This is your house, right?
Yes.
So there's an existing garage?
Yes.
So you're gonna abandon that?
No, we're gonna raise it, we're gonna fill it in. We're gonna
I
close
gotta
the
look at
door.
drawings, Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna put up a wall, and we're just gonna close that, because the way the lot is set up, the water just flows right down the
Right,
driveway,
right.
and it goes straight into the house. So we're gonna wall that off,
Yeah.
fill it in, and raise the grade sort of to the front of the yard grade, and then put the garage on the side on that, and so that will be elevated and safe, and we should avoid the flooding issue that we've had.
So the driveway would be in the same location?
So no, the driveway, what we would do is have a shorter driveway entering
Different street.
On Churchill.
Church.
Our driveway is on Bond
Well, that's
Street.
what I'm saying, you're
moving it.
abandoning all
Yeah.
of this.
Correct.
Yeah, it's,
That's my
Yes.
question.
oh, I'm sorry.
You're gonna
Yes,
recreate
yeah, we're
this driveway?
filling,
Okay.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, we're just filling it in to prevent the flooding. And as we said, that
And it's
will
a-
be the highest level.
I understand.
Yeah, okay.
It's a very awkward and,
Yeah, I know the house.
okay.
Okay.
And that is a sad-looking yard.
Oh, I have one more question.
Pre-spring cleanup.
Did you talk to engineering about the location of your proposed driveway relative to the corner? Because, there's a limit. You can't, how close you can be to the corner.
They said they didn't see any
Okay.
conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have anything to ask the applicants? Elise? No? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone here who wishes to speak in favor of the application of 645 Churchill Road? Is there anyone here to speak against the application of 645 Churchill Road? Okay, no, and we're going to close this application. Okay, and we're moving on to our final application of the day, which is, that's speedy. 80 Colonial Drive, map 139, parcel 124, petition of John P. and Morgan E. Nyland for a variance to zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setback from 30 feet, currently 21.3, proposing 21.3, and section 5.2.5, to increase lot coverage from 20%, currently 25.3, permission to construct a third-floor addition, as well as legitimize the existing lot coverage premises A zone. Please.
Madam Chairman, for the record, my name is John Fallon, members of the board. I'm here representing John and Morgan Nyland, who is a lovely couple sitting right in the front row. I recognize the pressure I'm under as you're on the verge of setting a world record for the meeting, and everybody's saying, Fallon, don't do what you sometimes do. So I won't. The property here is 80 Colonial Drive. Nyland's purchased it in 2022. They have a lovely young family, a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. And with that growing family, their current home, which they love very much, they moved here from Norwalk. It was always their goal to be able to raise their family in Fairfield. They're now realizing that goal. But the current home is very small, having only 2 bedrooms, a master bedroom on the first floor and a single bedroom on the second floor. So what they propose to do and what the plans show is to accommodate those needs of the growing family, to construct a second floor addition over the existing footprint to accommodate 3 bedrooms and a bath on the renovated second floor. And the repetitive point that I will make in my proceedings here is this addition is built totally on the existing footprint, so that there's no increases in any nonconformities that we will discuss. The property's located in the Residence A zone. It's a corner lot being bordered by Puritan Road to the west and Colonial Drive to the north. The current structure, as you can see from the survey that was submitted, is set back 21.3 feet from Colonial Drive, and the proposed 2-story vertical addition will be built on that current footprint, and the street setback to Colonial Drive will be maintained at 21.3 feet. Let's talk about the coverage. Mr. Decker and I did some fairly exhaustive research. The current lot coverage is 25.3%. The town records tell the following story, that in May 1980, 45 years ago, there was a permit that was issued to construct a screen porch. And in July of 1983, another permit was issued for the property to construct a one-story addition and screen porch on the property. No records exist with regard to any further specifics with regard to those permits. We would assume that the coverage that exists now was established at the time of the 80s when these permits were in effect, but no CO was ever issued. However, as I point out in my material, in Connecticut, we have a statute, section 29265C, that says that when a permit is issued, a building permit, it is deemed automatically closed after 9 years. So when the Nealons came to myself, and then before that to Mr. Decker, to do this addition, there was a question, well, we've got this existing coverage, which apparently has been in effect for 45 years. What do you do? And the consensus was, since you're coming to the ZBA anyway for a variance, quote unquote, of the Colonial Drive setback, just put in a request that the existing coverage be certified or allowed. So there's nothing in this application from the standpoint of the setbacks, or certainly the coverage as well, that in any way increases or intensifies any existing nonconformity. We are simply asking, as I said, to do a vertical addition so that the needs of this family can be addressed. What does all that mean from a legal standpoint? Under Connecticut General Statutes 8-6A3, as you know, you have to make two findings. One, that what is proposed will not substantially affect the comprehensive zoning plan. And the second is that there is hardship, an element, a factual aspect of the facts that case law supports hardship sufficient to grant the variances. With regard to the first part of the test, I cite in my material the Egan case. As you know, Egan stands for the proposition by our appellate court that if the use to be made of the property after the variance is granted is a permitted use in the zone and or consistent with other uses in the zone, then the first part of the test is met. In addition to that here, as I've pointed out, other than the technical variances that we request without increase for the street setback and lot coverage, there will be no other nonconformities created with regard to the proposal. We will comply with all other aspects of the regulations, including total floor area, which will be maintained in accordance with the regulations. We're very proud of the addition. It's a nice addition. It harmonizes very well with the character of the neighborhood. And I think you already have, Matt, we submitted with the application the petition, the neighbor petition, so you all have that. I have copies, but I don't think you need them. So our neighbors are well aware of this, and they feel, based upon their comments, that it's a very nice addition to the home and the neighborhood. With regard to the hardship requirement, and really the one variance we do seek, which is the allowance of the setback from Colonial Drive to remain at 21.3 while we expand vertically without increasing the footprint. Clearly, the legal controlling legal authority is what you've heard in other applications today, and I cite the cases in my material, Archambault versus Wadlow in particular, that a variance for street setback is established when the lot is subject to, as a corner lot, the regulation of street setbacks on two sides. And so we have that here, and that is the basis for the legal request to allow the coverage to be maintained at 21.3 as we go vertically up. The coverage aspect of the matter is, as I said, nothing is changing. We're simply asking that, since we're here, that this couple be allowed to legitimize that coverage that has been in existence for apparently 4 decades, and there's no increase in that existing coverage associated with this. So in conclusion, this is a nice young family. They're fulfilling their dream to be in Fairfield. They do have needs for some additional space. They're staying within the FAR requirements of the zone. There's no increase in the existing setback to Colonial Drive, nor the coverage. But to the extent that we need a finding of hardship for the setback variance, we have one in that we have that corner lot situation as shown on the survey. So we'd be pleased to answer any questions you might have, but we would hope you would see fit to approve the application. And I thank you, and I hope I kept it. I didn't keep it down.
No,
You did.
I just have a question, but if anyone else does, I can.
I'm looking for the building height. On the chart, it says it's less than 32 feet, but I don't see a dimension on the actual drawing.
I don't know if it's dimensioned on the architectural plans. I do know it is compliant with the regulations. It is under 32 feet. I don't know, I don't have my glasses to see.
I can't, because we don't have paper drawings in here, I can't measure it.
I don't know if Matt is looking, if it's measured. I certainly can suggest that obviously a condition of approval could be established if you have any doubt that the height of the building of the addition will be in accordance with the regulations, because I know it is.
Still didn't, when I got the plans, it wasn't over 32 feet, so it wasn't a request to ask for the height variance.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions?
Nope.
Okay, I do. And I think that's just as me, but I get really lost a little bit in basically this lot. Whoever lived there did things they shouldn't have gotten, they did not get permission for.
We're
Let's
surmising.
just assume that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know, but I think that's a fair assumption.
So then, but legally, once 9 years has passed, those are forgiven, and it is like they had permission. Is that correct?
Yeah, the statute, the purpose of the statute, whether you agree with it or not, but legislatively is that at some point, we have to bring finality and repose to issues such as this, so that if a permit is issued, as is the case here in 1980 and 83, and then for 9 years, it is not closed out, then what you said is accurate. That's the intent. So that I think, and Mr. Decker and I discussed this, one could argue that there's no need for a variance certification here because this coverage has existed for 40 years. But to the extent that I think this young family is going to hopefully live in this house for 40 years, but at some point in time, since we're here, I would hate to see them, looking to sell the house years from now and have to say, well, what's this covered? So we would be able to point back to this.
Okay, and then a follow-up question. If all these things were permitted and none of this come up, what would you have asked for a variance for?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite, what?
I'm assuming if these things were all done correctly.
You mean under the old
Yeah.
permits?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would you only be here for a variance for this corner lot setback?
I would assume that since the coverage is at 25.3, if you were here in the 80s, and they were, and we're assuming now that this coverage
Yeah.
was from those permits, you'd have to have gotten a coverage variance as well.
Right. Maybe I'm not framing my question correctly.
Your question's correct. What had happened is that in the 80s, the requirements of what needed to be submitted may not have been as strict as they are today with an 82 survey. So the size of the structures that were built and permitted are what you represented on the survey today.
Right.
If the calculations are done correctly then, they would have sought a variance for lot coverage back then.
Okay.
And then all they would be asking for today would be the corner lot variance.
So that's what, if
Correct.
all of that was, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, the
All
only-
you would be here for today would be the corner lot variance.
Yeah, the only effective variance that we're looking for is the Colonial Drive street setback, because it is the policy of the town and most other towns that when you have a structure that's non-conforming to an existing setback and you expand it vertically, even though you're not increasing the footprint, hey, you're still adding mass within the setback, you got to come and see us. And we're definitely doing that. But the hardship for that is we are a corner lot, and the case law I cite that says, hey, that's a proper hardship basis to grant such a setback when you have a corner lot.
Okay, thank you.
But you're right, that's the only real variance that this application triggers is the street setback.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, no more questions from the board? Thank you very much, Attorney Fallon.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak for this application? No? Is there anyone here who would like to speak against this application? Okay, now we're going to close this application. I don't like I don't like it, it makes me uncomfortable. Okay. So that is, we are done with the public part of the meeting. So now the board is going to talk through each application and vote in the order that we brought them forward today. I assume no one needs very, so you've been here very long. Okay. So I do not need to call out the continued dockets again, or do I need to put them in the minutes?
We have them down as being continued.
Okay, so we're only going to discuss the applications that we heard today. Okay, so the first application we're going to talk about is 81 Hyundai Avenue. Petition of Jack Meyer for variance to zoning regulations 5.2.4.3 to reduce the side and rear setbacks from 10 feet, proposing 4 and 4 feet for an accessory structure that is less than 60 feet from the street line. Permission to construct a shed. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Jane seconds.
Okay, discussion from the board.
I have two things. One, because I don't live far from here, and I want to make sure I say the name of the street right. Is it it's Hunyadi, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. The other is that it's fairly straightforward. It's minimus structure. It's not a big deal. It's simple.
Does anyone else have anything to say?
It's smaller than what's needed for building permit. It's movable, no way at any time.
So I think we wanted to say that we're agreeing to reduce the side and rear yard setbacks, basically because it's a non-conforming lot, there's nowhere else to put the shed.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 4 feet is better than, smaller than that.
That's correct. Okay. Okay, anything else from the board? No? Okay, so we're going to go to a vote. Elise, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
Okay, Katie?
Yes.
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 And I'm also a yes. That variance is approved. Okay, 1120 Mill Hill Terrace, map 243, parcel 237, petition of Adele Thomas for a variance to zoning regulations, section 5.2.5, to increase the total lot coverage from 15, currently 23, proposing 18, petition to construct a 2.5-story single-family dwelling with the front porch. Premises R3 zone. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second? Second. Okay, Katie seconds. Okay, a discussion from the board.
So, go ahead, Jane.
So I know the lot size is about half of what that neighborhood is, but coverage and FAR, that has to do with proportion. So just because it's a half-size lot, it wouldn't be okay, I assume you would agree, to build the house that could be built on the 20,000 square foot lot, just plop it in there. So it's all about proportion.
But he's also not doing that.
No, but he's
He's
still
building a house a third that size, or
Still
two-thirds that size.
The house that they're proposing is a brand-new house. It can be designed any possible way possible. It could be designed to be according to the regulations.
It could be, but in the interest of number one, it's not, he does have the standing to request the variance. He, I think, has the right to use the property to his maximum effect. I don't think that the house that he's proposing is outside the character of the neighborhood or anything else. He's got full support of the neighborhood. There's an absolute lack of question or detraction from any of the neighbors. No one's here in objection. I think it's a reasonable use of the property, and
it's 3%.
Yeah.
It's a very small,
It's not-
yeah, I think we would all
it's
be
not a big ask.
if they were going 5, 6 or bigger. But, 3, based on homes in that neighborhood, it's not out of character with the neighborhood.
at all. It's not a hulking structure that I can see.
Elise?
They're actually, well,
I agree with what, I agree that it's really a de minimis ask, and they're reducing the current 23% coverage down to 18.1. So it's a minor increase in the required coverage.
If
You wanted me to vote? Am I voting?
No, we were still in discussion.
All right, sorry, I can't hear exactly.
But if this applicant had come in and they had this non-conforming lot and wanted to add on to their existing structure, would we say yes or no?
I don't think we should deal in hypotheticals.
Okay.
Whether it's a hypothetical or not, we've done it 1,000 times where if someone alters the structure, they come in for a variance and it ameliorates a nonconformity, just because it's a net new structure doesn't change wouldn't change my opinion on it. They're still reducing a nonconformity in the neighborhood.
smaller than what's there now. They could just use it.
Exactly.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, we'll take it to a vote. Elise?
I'm a yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Yes.
Jane?
I'm convinced, yes.
Okay, and I'm also a yes. Okay, that variance is approved. And for the record, we're approving the variance because we believe the request is reducing the nonconformity. Okay. All right, number 3. 645 Churchill Road, map 26, parcel 230. Petition of Eric Picard for a variance of the zoning regulation to reduce the street line setback on a corner lot from 30, currently 59.6, proposing 27.7, permission to construct a 1-story addition for a new 2-car garage, premises A zone. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Brian, second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I think it's creative. I think they're minimizing impact while maximizing the use of the property. I think it's in keeping with the neighborhood. They got a lot of signatures. They got a bunch of signatures.
And the topography of the property is such that they need to do something by closing off the existing and moving it.
I wouldn't want a swimming pool in my basement if I could. Again.
Is there any more? Do you have anything to add? Okay, yes, I believe that the hardship here is the topography of this. We are ready to vote. Elise?
I'm a yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Yes.
Jane? Yes. And I'm also a yes, that application is approved. The last application is 80 Colonial Drive, map 139, parcel 124, petition of John and Morgan Island for a variance of the zoning regulation, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setback from 30 feet. Section 5.2.5, to increase lot coverage from 20% currently 25.3. Permission to construct a second-floor addition as well as legitimize the existing lot coverage. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Ryan, second? Discussion.
So I don't think it's an out of line ask. I think that the fact that time has legitimized the coverage at 25.3% would be enough for me, but the fact that they're not actually increasing anything other than the size of the house is enough for us to grant it.
Anyone else? Add to our discussion. Elise, you look like you have something to say.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm listening to you.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that, what came before us was legitimizing, for the record, two permitted uses that were never given a variance for, but what we're promoting is this corner lot there. Right?
Legitimizing is CFO.
There was a permit, but there was never.
That was closed, but now it's closed by statute.
Right, okay. All right, so anyone else? We're gonna go to a vote. Elise?
Yes.
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 And I'm also a yes. Okay, that application is
Bingo bongo,
granted.
enjoy your house.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
everyone, for your time, and if you want to,
Take care, council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elise. Everybody say thank you, Elise.
Welcome. Bye-bye.